Roche just wrote a check for $1 billion to acquire PathAI, a company that uses artificial intelligence to read cancer biopsies. This isn't just another tech acquisition. This is the moment AI officially has entered the room, the front lines of cancer diagnosis for every major hospital system on Earth. And it happened because of two founders who bet everything on an idea that most people thought was science fiction back in 2016. And here's how they pulled it off. So two founders, Andy Beck and Aditya Khalsa, met in the intersection of two worlds. One was someone with experience in deep learning research, while the other had experience in clinical medicine. Beck was a pathologist, the doctor who looks at your tissue samples under a microscope to diagnose of cancer, while Khalsa was an MIT and Stanford-trained AI researcher working on computer vision. In 2016, they had a radical idea. What if we could train AI to see what pathologists see? Not replace them, but instead assist them, make diagnosis faster, more accurate, and more consistent. The problem in 2016, most AI was being used for cat photos and Netflix recommendations. Applying it to a life or death medical decision, that was considered risky, unproven, and maybe even dangerous. But Beck and Khalsa didn't care. They founded PathAI in Boston and got to building the future of cancer diagnosis, while the rest of the world was still skeptical about AI belonging in healthcare at all. And I think what a lot of individuals don't realize, what separates a founder with a vision versus a founder who's just chasing the exit, is this story exactly. You have somebody who was in 2016 told, hey, I understand AI is this amazing technology that has yet to be proven. We don't want you in 2016 betting on introducing AI into the healthcare system. There's just too much risk involved. But you have somebody here who's a founder like, hey, I understand the risk, but me and my co-founder have the experience and the knowledge of the medical field, specifically with cancer research. As many no's as they were being told, they completely ignored it and they focused on the end goal. It wasn't for the exit. It wasn't for the bag. It wasn't for this $1 billion exit that they eventually had. It's for being able to see how many lives they can change. In reality, how many lives they can save. Now let's talk about the product itself. Who and what is PathAI? So PathAI builds AI-powered image analysis software for pathology. So PathAI builds AI-powered image analysis software for pathology labs. And here is how it works. Pathologists examine tissue slides under microscopes to diagnose diseases like cancer. PathAI digitizes those slides and uses deep learning algorithms to assist with the diagnosis, identify cancer subtypes, select patients for clinical trials, and develop companion diagnostics. Their image management system became the industry-leading platform for AI-assisted pathology workflows. But the real breakthrough came through a partnership. In 2016, it was founded, but in 2021, Roche, the world's largest diagnostic company, partnered with PathAI to expand the use of AI within the industry. And this partnership went all the way to 2024. And now, in 2026, Roche decided to just buy the whole company for $1.05 billion. But why? Because PathAI wasn't just a research project, well, at least not anymore. It was a clinical grade platform being used by pharmaceutical companies and hospital systems to improve cancer diagnosis at scale. Roche saw the future and they decided to own it. Roche acquiring PathAI is a huge deal for the medical industry. It's one of the first large acquisitions that took place that was led by AI and other similar AI technology. And yes, PathAI was acquired for $1 billion, but in my opinion, that seems a little bit too low. We're talking about a startup that is 10 years old, so it's a mature startup, has co-founders with amazing backgrounds, both a background in AI training and another background in medical diagnosis. So you have the team, and it's a strong team, but you have a platform, a product that is meant to change the world. Like if you guys follow his channel, you see all the stories we talk about acquisitions. There's been startups that are meme apps, startups that have small product offerings, small impact to the world that have been acquired for more than just $1 billion. But for this startup, PathAI, which is meant to just change lives, really, it's meant to save lives, to only be acquired for $1 billion Seems pretty low. Let's get into the numbers. So $750 million upfront, up to $300 million more in milestone payments, with a total deal value of $1.05 billion for a company founded just 10 years ago. The funding details aren't fully public, but what we do know is this: PathAI survived a decade in one of the hardest markets in tech, regulated healthcare AI, and came on the other side with $1 billion exit. That's not luck. That's execution. That's building real technology that passes the FDA scrutiny, earns trust from doctors, and solves problems pharmaceutical giants are willing to pay billions of dollars for. And now, PathAI isn't just a startup anymore. It's part of the Roche diagnostic family, a division that reaches pathology labs in over 100 countries. There's times where I give you guys updates on these acquisitions that happen throughout the day, throughout the week, and it's just like a boring acquisition. There's others that are a little bit more exciting. This is one of those exciting acquisitions, because here we have a great team of founders that got acquired for $1 billion. But what's really exciting is that they built a platform, they built a product that is meant to save lives. Like, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Depending on where you're watching this, a lot of the countries here in the US, it's more focused on the bag, the exit. And that's always cool, right? The capitalistic side is not too bad all the time. But when you have a company that had chased a mission like this to save lives, it just makes this a little bit more enjoyable to hear and to read out loud. So right now, timing is everything. In 2016, AI in healthcare was a buzzword. In 2016, it's infrastructure. The digital pathology market exploded as hospitals digitized slides. Regulators created frameworks for AI diagnostics, and pharmaceutical companies realized AI could speed up drug development. So Roche didn't just buy PathAI technology. They bought a decade of validation, clinical partnerships, and regulatory expertise. And strategically, this is a kill shot. Roche now has the best AI pathology platform in the world, and they have the biggest diagnostic sales force in the world to distribute it to. Competitors like Paige AI, Aiforia, and PathPresenter now face a Roche-backed juggernaut that can bundle PathAI into every pathology lab already using the Roche instruments. So this is definitely a winner-takes-all market, and Roche just grabbed the lead. Just another crazy story of how PathAI went from a startup to a global product overnight. So what is next? So Andy Beck and Aditya Khosa, the two founders of PathAI, just became part of the most powerful healthcare company on the planet. Their AI will now touch millions of cancer diagnostics every single year. And for anyone building AI healthcare, the message is clear. The waiting game is over. These companies that survived the hype and built real clinical products are now being acquired for billions of dollars. And PathAI is just a great example of that. All right, so here is my 2 cents on a prediction that might happen in the future. And it kind of relates to this acquisition of PathAI. I'm predicting in the future what we can possibly see is one of the backed companies like Paige AI that is backed by Microsoft to also have a new round of funding. So one of the things that people might not be familiar with is that within the medical field, like I said, there's a lot of scrutiny in 2016. AI just was a brand new kid to the block. Folks were kind of skeptical about it, but I think with the adoption of AI into the corporate world, into the enterprise world, there's going to be a lot more funding going towards medical AI startups. And Paige AI is one of it. Backed by Microsoft, so they have a lot of funds that can be channeled into the startup. I see them also kind of taking over or finding their space within the diagnosis side of cancer. So they might also see an exit pretty soon as well. Not from Roche, maybe from Roche, but it might be from a competitor within the Roche ecosystem. All right, folks, that is it for today's video. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Here is another acquisition, one that I'm pretty happy and joyful to share about, because it's an acquisition that I think is going to go in the right direction when it comes down to just humanity as a whole. You have an acquisition of a startup called PathAI that was meant to help diagnose cancer. And it's all about diagnosing, right? If you can diagnose the problem, you can fix the problem sooner. And the sooner, the better in the case of health. So here was an acquisition where $1 billion company was purchased. And it's now in the hands of Roche, which is a huge juggernaut of a company that is already used in 100 different countries. So definitely good news for AI, good news for the healthcare system. But what's better news is if you hit that subscribe. So add that like button to your to-do list, add your comments down below, and subscribe.